Rey Mysterio claims surprising family member first realized Dominik's potential. Hello guys. Welcome to my channel. I am Elena. Have a nice day. For the latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. WWE Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio recently revealed that it was his wife who first saw Dominik Mysterio's potential as a bad guy. The Judgment Day member is among the most popular heel characters on the roster. Dirty Dom teamed up with his father at the beginning of his WWE career. The father-son duo even won the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship in 2021. However, turning heel by attacking the elder Mysterio and Edge the following year at Clash at the Castle and joining the Judgment Day proved to be a massive turning point in his wrestling career. During a recent appearance on the Club 520 podcast, Rey Mysterio claimed that he always knew Dominik Mysterio would surpass him. He added that his wife, Angie Gutierrez, never saw Dom as a babyface, but as a heel between the ropes. He insinuated that Angie knew Dominik better, as she spent more time with him. Deep down in my thoughts, I've always said or knew that he was going to be something bigger than what I did. I didn't know how. My wife was the first one to spot out and point that she never saw him as the good guy. She always saw him as a bad guy in the ring, which now makes complete sense. She spent more time with him than I did because I was traveling so much. So she was both mom and dad, he said. Rey Mysterio breaks character to praise Dominik Mysterio. The two Mysterios have been enemies since Dominik turned heel at WWE Clash at the Castle. However, Rey Mysterio broke character to praise his heel son later in the same conversation. Rey Mysterio noted that watching Dominik's growth over the last 4 years felt great. The WWE Hall of Famer stated that he wished he had the amount of confidence and knowledge his son has when he was the same age. To see his growth over the past 4 years, and how he just evolved into this character and embraced it and just now completely owns it is awesome, man. His confidence is... I wish I had some of that when I was his age, and I wish I knew what he knows now when I was his age. I had no clue. I was learning as I was going, but I think the huge factor in this is he was thrown in right away to swim with sharks, and he figured that out. He learned how to swim with sharks, Rey said. Rey Mysterio has been absent from in-ring competition due to an injury he sustained on the go-home edition of Friday Night SmackDown ahead of WrestleMania 41. It will be interesting to see if he crosses paths with his son following his return to WWE television. If you use any quotes from the first half of this article, please credit Club 520 podcast with an HT to Sportskeeda Wrestling for the transcription. Dominik Mysterio's mother's thoughts on WWE heel run, revealed WWE star. Dominik Mysterio's mother's legitimate thoughts on her son's heel turn and run have been revealed. With Dominik Mysterio's great work as a heel, it can be easy to forget that he actually debuted for WWE as a babyface in 2020 and wrestled as a good guy up until Clash at the Castle 2022. Speaking on the Club 520 podcast, Rey Mysterio revealed that it was his wife and Dominik's mother, Angie, who first saw this potential, noting that she always saw Dominik as a bad guy in wrestling. Discussing Dominik Mysterio's heel run, Rey Mysterio said, "Deep down in my thoughts, I've always said or knew that he was gonna be something bigger than what I did. I didn't know how. My wife was the first one to spot and point out that she never saw him as the good guy. She always saw him as a bad guy in the ring, which now it makes complete sense. She spent more time with him than I did because I was traveling so much. But to see his growth over the past 4 years and how he just evolved into this character and embraced it and now completely owns it is awesome, man. His confidence is, I wish I had some of that when I was his age, and I wish I knew what he knows now when I was his age. I had no clue. I was learning as I was going. But I think the huge factor in this is he was thrown in right away to swim with sharks, and he figured that out. He learned how to swim with sharks, so I think personally that's why he's in the spot that he's in now. If you use this transcription or any portion of it, please credit WrestleTalk.com and link back to this page. Dominik Mysterio is now the AAA Mega Champion, defeating El Hijo del Vikingo for the gold at WWE Worlds Collide. Rey Mysterio has provided an update on his daughter Alia's in-ring training. Click here to read more. If you use this transcription or any portion of it, please credit WrestleTalk.com and link back to this page. To make sure you stay up to date with all the biggest wrestling and WrestleTalk news, follow us on Threads. By clicking this link 4 ways, Rhea Ripley can return on WWE Raw. Tonight, Rhea Ripley has been absent from WWE since the October 13th edition of Raw, where she suffered a brutal attack at the hands of the Kabuki Warriors. However, Survivor Series is around the corner, and the Eradicator could be gearing up for a blockbuster return. She could show up on the upcoming edition of Raw, which will emanate from TD Garden Boston. Ripley may be hungry for revenge against Asuka and Kairi Sane upon her return to the Red brand. She could go right after the Kabuki Warriors, who will battle for the Women's Tag Team Championship tonight on Raw. From squandering their title shot to saving 2 top stars from a beatdown, Mommy could do several things if she returns. Here are 4 ways Rhea Ripley can return on WWE Raw tonight. Unleash mayhem on the Kabuki Warriors backstage. Tonight is a big night for Asuka and Kairi Sane, as they have an opportunity to become the Women's Tag Team Champions. However, Rhea Ripley could spoil their party. The Eradicator, along with IIYO Sky, could launch a backstage attack on the Kabuki Warriors tonight on Raw, ahead of their title match. Seething in rage, Ripley and Sky could obliterate the Empress of Tomorrow and the Pirate Princess, leaving trails of destruction in their wake. They could create substantial damage to both superstars, so much so that the Kabuki Warriors might not make it into the Women's Tag Team Championship match at 100% show up at the ringside during the Women's Tag Team title match. Another potential way Rhea Ripley could return tonight is by making a surprise appearance on Raw and costing Asuka and Kairi Sane the Women's Tag Team Championship. Just when the Kabuki Warriors could be on the verge of winning, the Eradicator could show up at the ringside out of nowhere. Watching Ripley standing near the ring could engulf Asuka and Kairi Sane in trepidation. This momentary distraction could help Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss defeat the Kabuki Warriors and retain their gold. Following the match, Rhea Ripley could launch a brutal beatdown on the former damaged CTRL members. 2. Confront the Kabuki Warriors after their title triumph. The Kabuki Warriors could shock the world tonight on Raw by dethroning Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair for the Women's Tag Team Championship. However, their celebration may not last long. Just when they would be standing in the ring, Rhea Ripley's theme song could echo in the arena, not alone, but with IYO Sky. Both superstars could storm into the ring and attack the newly crowned champions, looking for revenge. A massive brawl could erupt in the ring between the Kabuki Warriors and the team of Ripley and Sky that may spill all over the ringside. 1. Rhea Ripley could come to the aid of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. The Kabuki Warriors might fail to win the Women's Tag Team Championship tonight, despite giving their best shot. In the aftermath of a potential loss, they could launch a brutal beatdown on Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. During that moment, Rhea Ripley could come out from backstage, making a blockbuster return. She could storm into the ring and attack Asuka and Kairi Sane, unleashing her fury. The Eradicator could drive the Kabuki Warriors away from the ring, prompting them to retreat. Ripley could help Bliss and Flair get on their feet, showing solidarity. This could sow the seeds of the women's war games for this year's Survivor Series. Dominik Mysterio to defend Triple A Mega Championship against two-time WWE Champion Dominik. Mysterio will defend his Triple A Mega Championship against a familiar WWE rival. The WWE Intercontinental Champion, Dominik. Mysterio has been a double champion since September 12th, when he won the Triple A Mega Championship from El Hijo del Vikingo, thanks to an assist from El Grande Americano. Since winning the Triple A Mega title, Dominik hasn't defended it, but he will have a match for the title soon. The Wrestling Observer newsletter's Dave Meltzer reports that the Heroes Immortalis event on October 25th will be headlined by Mysterio defending the Triple A Mega Championship against WWE Raw superstar Dragon Lee. Mysterio and Lee have a history together since they feuded over the NXT North American title, and they have also wrestled many times on the main roster. When Dominik Mysterio defended the Intercontinental title against Rusev on WWE Raw earlier this week, he used a low blow and a roll-up to earn yet another controversial win. As for the future, Penta has made it clear that he is also coming after Dominik Mysterio's Intercontinental title. Dirty Dom doesn't seem too worried since he brushed it off by saying he has beaten Penta plenty of times in the past. Rey Mysterio's wife. New Dominik. Mysterio would thrive as a heel. For the past 3 years, Dominik Mysterio has been one of the biggest heels on the WWE roster. His father, WWE Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio, revealed recently that Dirty Dom's mother Angie knew that her son could be successful as a heel. Deep down in my thoughts, I've always said or knew that he was going to be something bigger than what I did. I didn't know how. My wife was the first one to spot and point out that she never saw him as the good guy. She always saw him as a bad guy in the ring, which now makes complete sense. She spent more time with him than I did because I was traveling so much. She was mom and dad. But to see his growth over the past 4 years and how he just evolved into this character and embraced it, and just now completely owns it is awesome, man. His confidence is, I wish I had some of that when I was his age, and I wish I knew what he knows now when I was his age. I had no clue. I was learning as I was going. But I think the huge factor in this is he was thrown in right away to swim with sharks, and he figured that out. He learned how to swim with sharks. So, I think personally that's why he's in the spot that he's in now. Also read, some people would love to see Dominik Mysterio face John Cena in one of Cena's final matches. What time does WWE Raw start tonight? US, UK, India more, November 10th, 2025. The upcoming episode of WWE Raw promises to be a blockbuster show as it will emanate from the iconic TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. John Cena will make his much-awaited return, and several top stars will be in the house tonight. The feuds and storylines on the Red brand will shift gears as Survivor Series is around the corner. However, the timing of the show has been a common concern among fans as the fall DST shift has caused a 1-hour delay from its actual time in several countries. The November 10th edition of Monday Night Raw will start at 8 p.m. ET/5 p.m. PT. The show will stream at its usual time in the United States, and fans can enjoy it while having snacks and drinks. However, the timing of WWE Raw will vary in other parts of the world depending on geographical regions and the fall DST effect. How to watch WWE Raw. Tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw is a must-watch show, as John Cena will return and several blockbuster matches are set. Fans wishing to watch the event from the arena can head to TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts with a valid ticket. You can enjoy the show in person to have an immersive experience. However, you can also catch all the action live on Netflix while sitting comfortably on your couch. Netflix has been the official home of WWE Raw across several countries as part of the company's multi-year deal with the streaming giant that began with the start of 2025. Advertised card for tonight's WWE Raw. WWE has advertised several major segments and matches for the upcoming edition of Raw. John Cena will kick off the show tonight, and several championships will be on the line. Here is the advertised card for tonight. Paul Heyman has replaced Roman Reigns. I acknowledge you, says the Oracle ahead of WWE. Raw Paul Heyman betrayed Roman Reigns earlier this year at WrestleMania 41. The Oracle left the Tribal Chief and his best friend CM Punk to align himself with Seth Rollins in the main event of Night 1 of this year's Mania. Heyman recently took to X to acknowledge Bronson Reed as the tribal thief. Bronson Reed was involved in a grudge feud with Reigns over the past few months. The two faced each other in an intense match at Clash in Paris, where the head of the table emerged victorious. However, the story didn't end there for both men as they had another big match. Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed battled each other once again in a brutal Australian street fight at Crown Jewel in Perth, Australia. After multiple interferences from both sides, Reed scored the win in arguably one of the biggest matches of his career. Reigns has been away from WWE programming ever since his loss at the event. During the feud, Bronson Reed earned himself the moniker of Tribal Thief after stealing Reigns' shoes multiple times. In a recent post, Reed noted all of his achievements over the past year. Heyman replied to the post by acknowledging Reed. It will be interesting to see what else Bronson will achieve during this run. Roman Reigns might make his return soon. The Vision betrayed Seth Rollins by attacking him on the Raw after Crown Jewel. This led to him getting injured and relinquishing the World Heavyweight Championship. The Stamford-based company is now building up towards the upcoming Survivor Series, War Games PL. Considering the tension between the Vision and the Tribal Chief, there is a good chance Reigns will make his return before War Games. On this week's Raw, Logan Paul aligned himself with the Vision after attacking CM Punk, hinting towards them teaming up for War Games. Roman Reigns could make his return in the coming weeks and join the babyface team to go up against the Vision at Survivor Series. Liv Morgan, to return from injury on WWE Raw, immediately caused massive title change. Potential explored. The November 10th edition of WWE Raw will feature a Women's World Championship match between Stephanie Vaquer and the Judgment Day's Raquel Rodriguez. This will be La Primera's first title defense since defeating Io Sky at WrestlePalooza to win the gold. Rodriguez and new Judgment Day member Roxanne Perez have been feuding with Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella over the last few weeks, leading to the title match tonight. It is a huge opportunity for the former women's tag team champion, and there is a chance she could be assisted by a returning star in her match. Liv Morgan has been away from WWE for the last 5 months, recovering from a nasty shoulder injury she suffered during her match against Kairi Sane in June. The Miracle Kid was recently asked about when she would be back in WWE at the Stranger Things premiere, but did not reveal a date. She could live up to her nickname and make a shocking return tonight to help her former teammate Raquel Rodriguez shockingly dethrone Vaca and win the Women's World title. While the situation sounds promising, it is unlikely that the title will change hands tonight. However, whether or not Morgan returns to WWE tonight bears watching. At the Stranger Things premiere, Liv Morgan was interviewed by Tudum and asked about when she would be back on programming. However, the former Women's World Champion remained tight-lipped about her return date and said, "I think that everyone's just going to have to watch me." While it is too little to draw a conclusion, Morgan's return should be around the corner given the amount of time she has been away from the company. It will be interesting to see how her comeback is booked and whether she feuds with Roxanne Perez, who took her spot in the Judgment Day after John Cena, 4 other WWE stars who may return on Raw. This week, WWE Monday Night Raw this week from Boston is expected to be a memorable one. It will be John Cena's second last episode of Raw of his WWE career. The 17-time WWE champion is just a few days away from finally bringing the curtains down on his wrestling career. However, not just John Cena, the show could even witness the return of a few other superstars who have been out of action for quite some time. In this listicle, we shall discuss those few names. 4. Roman Reigns. The Tribal Chief hasn't made any appearance since WrestlePalooza, where he lost to Bronson Reed after a serious botch by one of his cousins, Jey Uso. After giving an earful to his cousins, he had disappointingly walked out of the ring. Since then, he hasn't shown up. However, with Survivor Series, War Games around the corner, WWE could bring back Roman Reigns for possibly the War Games storyline. The big dog can confront the Bronze on Raw this week, thus setting up the big clash for the Survivor Series. Brock Lesnar can also return on Raw this week. He also hasn't shown up since WrestlePalooza, where he squashed John Cena in a one-on-one match. There have been rumors that Lesnar could return as a new leader of the Vision. After having talks with Paul Heyman, WWE has also teased Lesnar and Heyman's union in WWE once again, especially since WrestlePalooza, where Paul Heyman shockingly came out to announce for Brock Lesnar. It was said that the Beast could lead the heel side in the Survivor Series War Games match against Cody Rhodes, or CM Punk's babyface side can also return on Raw this week to once again lock horns with the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. In her last appearance on the October 6th episode of Raw, she suffered a serious blow to her head after an attack from Kairi Sane. Later, Asuka helped her partner beat Sky. Since then, the Genius of the Sky hasn't made any appearance in the company yet. She hasn't been injured, but has been away to participate in a dream match against her Japanese opponent, Mayu Iwatani, at the Marigold Grand Destiny show on October 26, 2025. Since the Survivor Series War Games event is slated to occur this week, IYO Sky could return this week on Raw to be part of the babyface side at the big event. Most probably, the Kabuki Warriors will be part of the heel faction at Survivor Series, and IYO Sky will be part of the women's side. The Eradictor could also return this week on Raw to set up the storyline for the War Games match. She hasn't been seen since the October 13th edition of Raw, when Asuka and Kairi Sane brutally attacked her. That, however, isn't the cause of her being absent from the show for the past few weeks. The real reason is a legitimate nose injury, which she sustained during a fatal 4-way match during her Japanese tour. WWE officials had escorted her backstage after the injury, and it was later revealed that she suffered a severe nasal fracture. The typical recovery time for nose fractures to heal is 6 weeks. If she is medically cleared, then certainly the company would book her in the War Games match, as she is one of the biggest women's superstars in the women's locker room.